What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And in today's video, I just want to give you guys a quick market update, as we've obviously seen Bitcoin moving up in the past couple of days. I'm going to break down some of the things that I'm looking at, some of the possible scenarios I see playing out. We'll do our typical analysis, and then I'll give you guys some local levels to watch. But before we start, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, smash that like, and click that notification bell so you don't miss any of our great tutorials or urgent market updates like this that we upload to the channel. So without further ado, let's jump into the charts so I can give you guys a little bit of insight into what I'm thinking about this current pump. Let's get into it. So here we are on the Bitcoin weekly chart. Now, this might be a little bit repetitive for those of you who watch the channel regularly, but I do just want to cover this for anybody who's new to the channel. One thing that we've been keeping an eye on here is this weekly double green dot. Now, this has marked the bottom of the bear market in the past. I'm not saying this is the bottom of the bear market, but you do just want to notice that, the last double green dot that we got on the weekly time frame did mark the bottom of the bear market. Now, obviously, if you go back to previous cycles, you could see in 2014, we did get two green dots here on the weekly. So we had one, thought it was the bottom, and then we got the other one that actually marked the bottom. So you want to make sure you remember that, we can see something similar play out here. So it's not a guaranteed bottom, but it could mean that we're at least hitting a local bottom, which would support this little relief pump that we're having. Now, 6th day, we covered this as well recently. Snake eyes on the 6th day. This is really rare. As well. I actually don't know if this has ever happened. You got two there. I don't know if those are close enough to consider snake eyes. But nonetheless, double green dots on the 6-day chart. Pretty bullish sign. Again, adds a little bit of support to the idea that we could get this continued relief rally here. So let's go ahead and I just want to take a look at the daily chart here as well. So you do have the bullish divergence here on the daily. Again, kind of playing out here as we're seeing a pump up, but I do just want to talk a little bit. We covered this on the stream last night, but obviously, you do see price a lot of the times here, at least in the bear market. We've seen big capitulation down, and then you kind of create these bear flags where you consolidate up, making those higher lows, and then continue to the downside. Another bear flag is created. You kind of bing bong, bounce around in there before another capitulation down. Now, one thing I do want to point out is, although that these bear flags have been really reliable lately, we could be possibly forming another bear flag here. I'm just going to rough this out here. We could be creating another bear flag here to potentially break back down to make some lower lows. I will be looking for possible lower lows at between $15,000 and $14,000. However, that is not the only situation we could be in, right? We could be creating this bear flag, or depending on how you draw this, if we come to a lower time frame like the 4-hour and draw a little bit of horizontal resistance right here, get that a little more accurate, right? And then you grab your trend line and you have your higher lows like this, right? So this is actually now looking a little more like an ascending triangle. An ascending triangle is obviously a bullish pattern, right? Typically breaking to the upside. Now, if we zoom in a little bit here and get these lines a little bit more accurate, I'm going to sit it right on top of this candle. And you can see, obviously, these do typically break to the upside, right? You kind of just bing bong around here, consolidate, and then you come up to break out. Now, it is, when you draw it like this, it could look like we have broken out of this ascending triangle and are now retesting this resistance as support to potentially come up to higher prices. So these are kind of the two scenarios. I just wanted to cover those really quick, because these are kind of the two main scenarios that I see. Now, again, if you guys watch the channel, you will know that if we do continue this relief rally, with that weekly green dot, the double green dot on the 6th day, if we continue this relief, I do think that we could eventually, come up a little bit higher. And I am going to rough this out, guys. This is not exactly, I'm just doing this for the video. I do think there's a possibility that we could come up and test this macro golden pocket the bottom of this macro golden pocket, which does get pretty close to 28K. Now, again, that's a little bit roughed out just because I don't want to waste too much time here. I want to get this out to you guys before price action changes too much. But I do think we could possibly get a pump up to this level. And, you know, being that we do have the macro golden pocket in that area, I do want to pull up our VPVR, and I want to show you guys another reason why this could be the next stop for Bitcoin if we continue this relief rally. And based off of the higher time frames, I do think it's possible for this to continue. A little too early to tell right now because a lot of the bullish signals on the higher time frames have not confirmed, but they are looking pretty bullish on the longer time frames. However, something I want to point out here, if you guys watch the channel, you will know we talk about this all the time. You'll notice we have a high volume node down here, this point of control, the red line right here, very strong level. It's the area where the most volume was traded. Now, if you look, we obviously have a giant gap in volume right here. Now, typically when you see these, gaps in volume, you could come to these high volume nodes like this, and we can draw some horizontal lines for support and resistance. You have the point of control right there. But you can see, when you get to these high volume nodes, they act as support and resistance. You can see right now, we are struggling against this level of resistance right here. We actually did just flip it, and now we are testing it in a bullish manner. But it is a strong level, but once you break through these levels, sometimes what happens with these big gaps in volume, because there's not a lot of volume traded in this area, a lot of times you'll see price move very quickly through these low volume gaps, right? Obviously, you see we drew our horizontal line here. It acted as support. We bounced around. We came up. We kept bouncing. And eventually, once we broke it, we came down very fast, right? It was a super quick move down. And that's what you see a lot of the time with these big volume gaps. So if we can continue in a bullish uptrend, I do think maybe if we can break into this low volume gap, I do think price could come up pretty quickly to test, this level again, getting pretty close to 28K. Now, if you guys watched the channel yesterday on the stream, you will know that we were looking at the $22,500 to $23,000 area for a rejection, right? And we almost came up to that $22,500 mark perfectly before getting rejected. So maybe we could possibly have one more move up here to 23K before a harsher rejection. Or if we do fall back into this triangle, we could be testing the bottom of this triangle. Now, this is coming in at about 19,700. So if we do break back to the bottom of the triangle, that is the price that we are looking at in the short term. But if we continue bullish, I would be watching this $22,500 level, as well as that $23,000 level, right? We did have, you could see we have resistance here as we came down. We retested and got rejected. So you do have levels there. If we can make it all the way up, obviously that target in one of the more bullish scenarios would be around 28K. Probably going to get resisted, somewhere in that 28 to 29K range, right? That's obviously the more bullish scenario. So, who knows if we'll actually get up there, but if we do, we have a lot of reason to get rejected at this level at around 28 to 29K, right? And that being that you do have a high volume node right here. As you can see, you have this high volume node, which will act as resistance, as well as the macro golden pocket does also fall right in that area. So these are kind of some of the levels that I'm looking at. And then the two situations, right? Obviously, with this potential bear flag forming or potential ascending triangle that has broken out and is retesting in a bullish manner. We're going to have to watch this, right? These are kind of some of the things that I'm looking at. And if we just go ahead and hide this DPVR, let's just go ahead and take a look at Market Cypher and see if there's anything that we can kind of take away from here. 4-hour money flow is coming back up. You do have the VWAP turning back around, coming up, right? 4-hour is turning around. That VWAP is looking to come back up towards that zero line. As we are bullishly retesting this resistance as support. So that could potentially push us back up. Now, coming down to the 2-hour, again, about to print a green dot on the 2-hour here, which could easily push us towards this $22,500 mark or this $23,000 mark. The 1 hour is, VWAP above the zero line. Money flow starting to flatten out here, but looking pretty healthy. Looking at some of these, shorter time frames, 15-minute money flow in the red. Your VWAP is coming up. 10-minute money flow starting to come back up here. Your VWAP curving to the upside. 12-minute kind of starting to round off with your money flow here. So coming over to these higher hourly time frames, you did get an 8-hour money flow crossover, but something you want to realize is you do have the VWAP coming towards that zero line, right? Now, you've been above the zero line for about 6 days. That is pretty long to be above the zero line, and getting that close back there for the crossover to the downside, it is looking like you could be printing a red dot on the 8 hours soon. But that money flow crossover is strong. You could easily just peak down below the zero line and turn right back around to the upside. So keep that in mind. Looking at the 12-hour money flow coming up, you do have a 6-hour money flow crossover. Taking a look at the 16-hour, we'll see money flow coming up, but you have your VWAP coming down. So you want to remember that. We did get obviously a nice pop up here, so it wouldn't be unlikely to get a little cool off. But with the way things have been looking recently, we were looking for some entries yesterday into some long trades. If you wait around too long for that little cool off period for a better entry, if you wait too long, sometimes you just miss the trade and it takes off without you, which is totally fine if that happens. Do not FOMO into trades. I missed my entries yesterday. I did not FOMO in. So just keep that in mind. You want to be safe. Don't FOMO into any trades, but it is looking like we could potentially get a little pullback here. Just a healthy pullback. Now, if we come to the lower time frames, I will give you guys some local levels to watch. Here on the 2 hour, if you pull your Fibonacci retracement here, so I am hoping for a possible retest of this golden pocket to potentially come up higher. And if you pull your fib from this little dip right here, you see that 382 that we bounced off of is also a local golden pocket. So we could get a little bounce here, but just the way, with the 2 hour about to print a green dot, that would be a possibility. Now, if we do that, something you can keep an eye out for here on the 2 hour chart or even the 1 hour chart is a potential pump up to this 23K level, making that higher high, and then you might see your market cipher be momentum waves, creating a lower high, creating that alligator mouth, and we know what that means. It's a bearish divergence. You make the higher high here and you make the lower high right here. You get those spread lines and typically price will come down, right? So this is something that we could see play out in the near future. If this green dot does print on the 2 hour, look for those bearish divergences for a potential scalp short entry. This is not financial advice. You should not just trade based off of what I say. You should take what I say, apply it to the charts, see if you agree with it or disagree with it, and make your own decision. But these are some of the things I'm looking for a potential short entry. And again, with the higher hourly time frame VWAPs coming down, looking like they want to print red dots. Again, you have the money flow crossovers into the green on these time frames, but the VWAP could bring you down for a cool off period in the short term. So you want to remember that. Now, coming on to our other chart that has more of our levels here, you will see that we're playing around with this value area high as well as this spider line. It actually looks like if we come to the 1 minute, we are kind of just dancing around on this yellow spider line. So we'll see if we can flip it to support and hold it. But again, I would be looking for those bearish divergences on the 2 hour for a potential rejection, right? And again, you have this level right here on this chart as well. Maybe we pop up, retest, and then make that higher high like this, and then again, you get the lower low, you get the lower high on market cipher B, and then you come down. So guys, I think that's all I got for this one. I did just want to make this one real quick for you guys. I know price action has been moving pretty quick today and yesterday, so I want to make sure I record this and get it out to you as soon as possible. There's some of the levels I'm looking at for you guys and 2 of the possible scenarios I see playing out. And I just wanted to pass this information on to you guys, give you guys an idea of what I'm looking at on the charts. With all that being said, guys, I think that's all I got for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Frankie Candles out.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, we winning by a landslide.